Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 591. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Brian Manjoma.
It seems like that people really don't like that.
No, they don't like that at all. They don't like that whatsoever. All right, we'll see what happens with Rich. He may or may not join us. Brett's supposed to join us, so once he gets here, things are going to get crazy. But I talked to him earlier. He's doing well. He's recuperated, so, unless he fell asleep or something, he should be here later on. And Adam, Adam should be here tonight, like if the gods were willing, but he's probably not. He's probably doing TV Terminal, but... we should just jump right into it, shouldn't we? Oh, man. So, again, this is one of these weeks where I was like, okay, I know what we're talking about today. It was going to be, the Xbox bloodbath that's coming next week. Everybody's reporting on it. Sony said, hold my beer. They said, hold my cans of beers, because this is crazy. So, as always, when it comes to these things, I wake up and I'm like, what? I was like, is this an off-season April Fool's joke? No, this is directly from PlayStation. And we're going to read this right from their blog, too, so nothing's misconstrued here. Physical disc production ending in January 2028, baby. It's over. Jover, even. The phrasing of this shit. In response to shifting trends and consumer preference, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. And I'll read this as real short. As consumer preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. The transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be released prior to 2028 in this format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical disc. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play their games today. And I don't need to read the last bullshit, stupid. Like, we'll continue to listen to you. But yeah, that's it. PlayStation's done with physical media. It's over. And obviously, you saw the reactions on Twitter. Not happy about it. Not happy at all. Bro, it's bad when fucking, Kevin Nealon is talking about it. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, Kevin Nealon, what's his face? The former host of the Daily Show. What's his face? What the hell's that guy's name?
Craig Kilborn?
Trevor Noah? Yeah, Trevor Noah.
Oh, I thought you said Craig Kilborn. That's my boy.
No, not Craig Kilborn. Trevor Noah showed up and talked about it. A lot of people you wouldn't expect to be talking about this. And his one was interesting because he comes from, Africa. He's like, yeah, like there are other countries that don't, that don't have the way they play. They can't play that way. They can't play with online or anything or download codes or like that. Even Australia, people from Australia are saying the same thing. It's like, that's a lot of the way we play games out here. Because again, they live in the sticks.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking Wi-Fi? Ain't no fucking Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Now, I do want to tie this in to something because a few weeks ago, I believe, Chris, you did the financial report for Sony, and in it, you pointed out 85% of PlayStation's customers buy their games digitally, which is probably why they're like, okay, we could cut these guys off. And go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, I'm saying like usual business rule is like the 80-20 natural rule. It's like once you fall below 20% of anything sale, retail, net sales, whatever, then you're like, we'll probably cut it loose. They probably desperately want to cut it loose because it cuts a lot of overhead in printing art and disc and boxes, and not for nothing. Like I know people are mad. I don't like this decision either, but a lot of the disc we are buying for PS5, if you're buying disc, I buy some. I don't know if there's any of the game on there, to be honest with you. A lot of them are just keys. There's a
site that calls it's called Does It Play or something like that, and they actually do a record of every single game that you can play on disc, like out of the box without having an actual network connection.
Yeah, I'd have to go look that up because and then a lot of games that are pressed on the disc have day one patches that are pretty much the entire game.
Yeah,
like the game is like unplayable in that pressed version, right? So it sucks. It sucks all around. But yeah, I could see why they're doing it. I know. I understand people are mad. Like I'm mad too. But honestly, they have given up on really on caring about physical media long before this decision.
Oh, like remember the digital version of the PlayStation 5 was a test bed. That system sold very well, and then obviously couple that. Because here's the thing, this has been trending this way even before the pandemic. The pandemic accelerated things, but it's just been trending that way. By the way, shout out to Brett who's joining us. But yeah, Chris. So yeah, you're right. It has been going this way anyway.
But it didn't have to.
It didn't have to.
Stop Killing Games just gained traction in the EU, which means that making a game that was pressed on a disc that was not going to function without a day one patch was about to be illegal. So they got around the whole thing by just not making discs, which is the shittiest response ever to a crowd-funded source of not killing art I've ever seen.
Yeah. But yeah, like again, I'm just leaving it open. You guys chime in.
No, I know. I just want to point out the whole
No,
because
you're
I hear
right.
the point, and you guys are very right in the point that we were kind of heading down this road anyway. The difference is we had found a way off of this road. The whole Stop Killing Games was to stop them from being able to create things like You'll Own Nothing and Like It. And the way that they skirted around it was to stop doing physical media. And I can't help but think that the two are probably not unconnected.
I mean, you might be right about that. By the way, I do want to give a shout out to Stop Killing Games. We actually reached out to them, Tom's Guide, and they were very gracious to answer our questions. And I wrote a story about it. And one thing they said, rightly so, this is the founder who said this to us. He says he didn't want to pick on them, but he also can't help but think that Xbox set the precedent here, 2013. They tried to start all this stuff. People then rejected it back then, but now it's come to happen.
The thing about it, I think the thing also about a lot of this stuff, it's you have to wait long enough to where the zeitgeist where the zeitgeist essentially grows up with that way of play. In other words, I liken it to the MTA when they were having their disputes, right? Where they were essentially, saying, "Oh no, you can't get rid of turnstile operators. You can't do all of this." All they did was just wait everything out. They waited for all those old people to retire, and then finally they just said, "All right, we're not hiring any more of those roles anymore." And I think this is the same situation. They just waited out that whole situation. Both Microsoft and Xbox, and essentially we got all that shit that they were talking about.
All of it.
The DRM, all the
digital handshake, all that stuff.
Digital handshake, all that sort of stuff. We all eventually got it. It just was pushed
the second job.
Pushed down the road. Yeah.
No, because you're right. We've had basically a generation and a half that is used to digital games.
Exactly. Think about it.
Yeah.
When PlayStation 4 was announced, 2013.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's 13 years ago.
13 years ago. That's enough time for people for a generation of people to grow up and be gamers who've only known digital gaming.
Yep. Exactly. And remember, again, 2013, that's also when the Xbox One was revealed, and it got destroyed for everything that's happening now because it was too early then, Yeah. But now people aren't buying games anymore, like physically, and this is what happens.
The thing about there's so many businesses that this cuts into. You saw people like GameFly making statements. There's
Man.
also they're still around.
I was like, what? There's motherfuckers that are still around?
They're still around. They're still doing their thing. GameFly's still around. Like places like Limited Run Games, Strictly Limited Games. All those guys whose businesses is to make physical things, physical games. This cuts into all their fucking business because and unfortunately, because even though PlayStation, has a monopoly, but doesn't have a monopoly on this situation, they can make this move, and it would just blow everything else out.
Yeah, I do want to go back to something, Chris, that you said about this is going to cut the overhead. Yeah, it is, but those savings are not going to be passed on to us. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. The reason, because remember when digital games really started becoming a thing, people were like, why the fuck do they cost the same as physical discs? And the reasoning at the time was because we don't want to undercut the physical sales. Physical sales aren't a thing anymore. So what are you undercutting? Theoretically, we should be getting savings, but we're fucking not. We're going to get $80 games,
Yeah. Yeah. There'll always be an excuse for the cost to go up, and then they cut it on the back end, and then they'll make an excuse. It's like, well, we don't have the physical overhead, but that was cut off by our, tax revenue and foreign exchange rate issues, and we have other overheads to think about. We have staff, and we have studios doing all this 4K for blah blah, and then they'll feed you a bunch of jargon why everything costs what it costs, but most of it's bullshit.
Yeah, I think Gene Park had said it on the CNN interview that he had recently done. He's like, yeah, it's not that they're only doing this to cut their own overhead, but the customers won't see any of this, and we've never seen any of this.
Nope.
Nope.
I think the last time we saw this was when we moved from cartridges to CDs. It cost them less to manufacture, and then those savings did get down to us. That was the last time. That was over 20 years ago. Actually, excuse me, that was over 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally around when the PlayStation, first started,
95.
95, 94, that sort of thing. It's again, we're talking about the whole digital space. It's like, okay, yeah, we're not going to see any of those savings. So what do you? And the question becomes, and even with the disc versions of things, it's like, what are you paying for? If you're only just doing a bare bones disc, if you're only just throwing somebody a file and you're still charging $80 for it.
It's crazy.
You paid $80 for nothing. That's just what I see it as. You didn't pay for anything.
And on top of that $80 comes with a terms of service that you couldn't read in this lifetime, and that somewhere buried in there that anytime Sony feels like it, they lose a license, there's a legal battle over the IP, they could reach out and yank that shit or just unregister your license, and that's gone.
Chris, how many movies did they delete? It was like over 500 movies.
550, yeah, the Studio Canal. Yeah, they lost the Studio Canal license. So Terminator 2 was part of that license, by the way.
On the anniversary of that fucking movie, man. Disgraceful.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Don't forget that they can now use that as a way to blackmail you into whatever kind of vague terms of service or behavior that they want. You'll sign anything, unfriend anybody, do anything to keep your library of games, because if they suspend your account, you lose your library now.
Yeah.
I agree with Brett 100%. I'll add on to that, Brett. I guarantee they're going to say, hey, we want to preserve your movie library. So how about you sign up for Sony Pictures Core? And then that'll make sure that you don't lose, even if we lose the license through the Core, they'll do shit like that. I absolutely agree with that.
Until Core goes away.
Yeah.
Also, let me also mention, along with this big information of them essentially, not producing discs anymore. Squeezed into that little bit of information is something that came from the Jim Ryan days, because they're going to be also sunsetting.
Hey, Manny, don't skip you're skipping the shit.
Oh, I didn't know it was on the thing. I thought it was just like, okay.
Yes. I know you're passioned about it, but we let's stick to the show.
I'm gonna keep it on. But yeah, again, like it's like there's so many different businesses that this affects, and obviously they're saying, well, we can do it because we're the head of the game right now, and it's disappointing to me, because it's like, again, I still buy physical. Now it's funny, it's so interesting that like we're talking about this, because didn't we just talk about this? Wasn't this just a fan question recently?
It was.
I think over the last weekend, it was the previous weekend or something like that. It was last week's.
Yes, because we did talk about this. You're 100% right about that.
So yeah, we did talk about this, and then the question became: would you, obviously a lot of our fans in the, on the, Throwdown fans are very much physical. They like physical games. They asked the question: would you still buy the PlayStation 6 if it was non-digital, if it was just an all digital console?
Yeah. And when the last question, this from last week's show, it was just about like, will GTA 6 and Brett, by the way, because you and I had that conversation before the show, I purposely threw in a GTA 6 story for you to give you a springboard to talk about what you want to talk about. That's later on, bro.
And,
and then, I have feelings, everybody.
Yes, but Manny, so basically, because remember, with GTA, you're not getting the game. So that was the question.
Yeah. You're not getting a game. So like, when you buy your supposedly physical edition of it, is I guess either one of those cards, or it's in a case. It's a case. Like
it's literally a Blu-ray case with a code. That is all you're getting. And I find it funny, the evolution. Oh, did you guys want to say something?
I was just saying, they're literally selling you an empty box.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, perfect springboard for what I say. The devolution of these things, or devolution, right? I don't know what the proper word is. De-evolution, devolution. Anyway,
I thought it was de-evolution.
Might be.
I thought it was retardation.
I don't even know if it is that too. I don't even know if. Anyway, we first started with the game box and a thick color manual, right? We had that for a while. Then game manuals became black and white. We still had the nice box, right? Then game manuals started becoming thinner and thinner until it got to a point where you didn't get anything, right? It was just a piece of paper, and you eventually stopped getting that. It was just a box with a disc, right? Now, you don't even get the fucking disc.
Yo, Tony,
bruh,
you missed one step. You missed one step. They cut off little pieces in the box. Remember, they put little
they cut holes in. They cut holes in the back so it uses less plastic.
That's right. Yeah. So it's just interesting. Yeah. It's like the caveman getting bigger and shit until he becomes a human. It's the other way around. He becomes a monkey.
We're going back to fishes.
Yo, man.
Then,
go ahead, Carlos. What's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, just to piggyback from what you're saying, Tony, it's all of these companies are trying to find a way to make as much money as possible.
The money,
and because you gotta make the money, and all of these different types of schemes that we see are all things that everyone is seeing or thinking about doing. That some of them just don't have the guts to pull it off. Microsoft during the Xbox One unveil. They gave the whole shebang. They gave the whole formula. They said, motherfuckers, this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Miss Cleo. This is what you're going to see. And they got blowback, and they rescinded on a lot of those, or I think most of them, or not, if not all of them, all of those things, at least for temporarily. But eventually different companies just started doing all of this stuff. But a lot of these things sort of kind of, what's the term when you see something bad repeatedly, it just it doesn't impact as much. There's a term I always I forget what the term is.
Hmm.
Desensitized.
Okay.
You get desensitized to all of these different things. So
Yeah.
when it comes to the DRM, I mean, we've had it for years now, but in 2013, we sure as hell raised, hell against Xbox. But now, not so much. With the physical media, we saw this. The game sharing. I think that's where it's all Xbox. The game sharing part. That's the highest blowback any company's gotten for something physical media in a while. Until today, I guess. But that's even dying down. Sony's not going to back out from this. I don't think the blowback is going to be big enough for him to rescind this. And they're just starting the trend. We saw, like you mentioned, the whole thing with GTA. All the other companies are probably going to follow suit. Hopefully not Nintendo. If Nintendo doesn't do this, man, they're going to have a good play. To make it, you're about to get a lot more people into the Nintendo bus. So it's all about being desensitized about all these things. The $80 or the $70 games. I forget, was it 2K that mentioned it first, or Ubisoft, one of those companies?
Yeah, it was one of those sports. It was like a sports game. NBA 2K. I don't know which company makes that, but that was going to be the first one. Okay. And there was blowback, so they pushed it back. And then like a month or two later, Sony said, "Fuck that, $70 games, let's go." And people just went with it.
People just went with it, and then GTA did $80 games, and don't be surprised if the next God of War or the next Spider-Man is $80.
Oh yeah.
So it's all about getting desensitized. People are desensitized about crypto scams now. So it's all about everything with the video game industry. It's about how much more profit. There's no such thing as passing down to the consumers. Same as there's no such thing as trickle down economics. It's not going to happen. It's all about making as much money as possible at the expense of everyone.
I'll tell you what. I forgot when this court case was. I don't know if it was in the 1920s, but Ford v. Dodge really screwed us.
Oh shit!
Because that was the Supreme Court decision that said that companies don't owe their fiduciary responsibility is not to the customers; it's to shareholders.
Wow.
That was Dodge's argument back in the 20s, because Henry Ford wanted to pass on all their profits and stuff. He wanted to do profit sharing and stuff with employees. And Dodge said, no, you don't, because we're going to have to do that. And they took him to court, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And they said, no, it's your shareholders. That's your fiduciary responsibility. Fuck. We have been suffering ever since then.
Man, fuck Dodge,
Well, they all became part of Ford anyway.
No, Dodge is still its own thing.
Yeah.
The other thing about all of this is like, again, like I talked about how it affects all these other industries, right? But also it affects like the consumers themselves. Like, you can find like currently, and a lot of people have been doing this. They've been showing like games that you can currently buy physically for like way cheaper than you can buy it on the actual PlayStation Store. So if you're locking everybody to one specific store, that means that there's no other choice. Well, I mean, other than the other thing, like buying the whatever the card is or whatever that is. But I wonder if that's going to be any different. Like, would Amazon be able to charge $12 for a code that PlayStation has for full price?
Man,
there's no, because it's a different thing.
Yeah, and then the thing is, they also have it was variable pricing, right? They've already introduced.
Oh
this,
yeah,
right?
That's already been. Yeah.
So, for example, and this is just an example, right? Man, let's just say you buy a game for $40, but I got to pay $45. Because he lives in a nicer area, charge him more. He's using a American Express, charge him more. Shit like that. So they can implement that. And now, before you used to have the choice of, go ahead, bro.
Do you know what flocking?
Flocking, like seagulls?
Yes and no. This is like seagulls, but it doesn't involve seagulls. So I recently found out about this. Flocking, you may notice in your local supermarket or whatnot, they have these weird things that look like street lights / camera with like a solar panel. What those do is they have image tracking software that as soon as you enter the parking lot, tracks and tags your vehicle license information to the IP of the phone that you're carrying, so that it can then track, tag, and identify you as you move through the store through a series of hidden sensors located in the pillars, so they can triangulate exactly where you are, what you're looking at, how long you're spending there, and then document your shopping habits so they can then use that and then sell that also to other companies. As soon as you hit the fucking parking lot, they have tagged and identified you, and that's what makes that variable pricing so fucking terrifying, is when you combine it with that kind of metadata track.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking evil, man.
Funny enough, that appeared on my timeline, but it was of people destroying those things.
Oh, I saw that today. People fucking those things up. You know, but now I lost my train of thought there. Oh, the variable pricing. So that's crazy. Oh, that's what I want to say. Before, you at least had the option. Let's just say you go to PlayStation Store. There's a game there for $50, right? You're like, fuck that. You could go to a GameStop or whatever and buy the same game physically for $30. That option is no longer available to you. It's over. You know, they can charge you whatever they want. And I know dudes are going to say PlayStation has sales, but what's going to give them the incentive to make those sales any good? Oh, you're going to save $5 now. Here's your sale. You know, it's just that's the thing that people aren't really thinking about. It's like, not only do you not own the games that you buy, but you don't even have any say in the pricing. You are just fucked, you know? And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was, you know, retro gamers. Let's just be honest here. Those guys are fucking done, you know? Like, their collection will stop at the PlayStation 5. That is it. Though all those guys are done, you know, like Metal Jesus and shit. You saw Happy Console Gamer change his name to Angry Console Gamer this week. My man was pissed, you know, because guys, he lives off of buying physical games. You know, that's over. That whole way of living that gamers have had since forever. Buying your games slowly, building up your catalog, having a huge fucking stack of games. All that is fucking done. You know, and I'm saying this as a guy who's digital only, basically, right? I feel the pain of what people are going through. And this is why I don't like it when people who are in my position are pretty much laughing at other people. Oh, you're losing your fucking, why are you still buying physical, you fucking dumbass? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You should at least, you know, be sympathetic to your fellow gamer here. You know, the people have been doing this for a while. This is their lifestyle, and it's fucking gone now. You know, because of these fucking greedy ass companies. And don't think it's going to be only PlayStations. We're already hearing, you know, rumblings of Helix. That shit ain't going to have a disk drive either. So this is the way things are going. And I feel for people, it sucks. It really does, you know. Brian, man, get in here, bro. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, I think my thoughts can be summed up by the fact that this is now the second time Sony has been clowned on by a company that makes shit pizzas.
Domino's!
In the same year. So that should never happen. Again, I'm not shocked that they've done this. Again, given the financials that Chris mentioned, this was inevitable. Carlos, play the tea leaves, please. So...
1 second.
The tea leaves were like slapping you in the face.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyone that says that they are shocked by this, I don't think that they should be shocked by this. It was definitely going to happen. I mean, 85% of sales are digital. Yeah, they will just move to that. Again, it makes them way more money than physical discs do. I'm just with everyone else here. This is not good. Like, the only person who wins out of this is Sony. Everyone else loses in every regard. I mean, GameStop pretty much is going to be, again, no longer a thing, practically, since there's no point of use games. Again, there's no physical discs, so again, any historian... See, I can't make the point I want to make because it's part of like the next story, but the next story, once we get there, that will be a problem. And even the pricing is just, again, the variable pricing, the fact that games on the store are just stupidly expensive. it's just like no one wins out of this at all. And
Yeah.
again, just nobody wins. It's incredibly frustrating, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like, there is absolutely nothing we can do apart from not buying the console and not buying the games, which it's not going to happen because, again, PlayStation is the gaming platform. So all these people that 85% of people, let's assume that the 15% of people that buy physical just stop buying consoles and games. It really won't matter because that 85% of people that are still buying digital will probably earn enough revenue to cover that. So Sony won't probably see a difference. So yeah, I think this is just going to be the way the next generation of consoles are, and effectively the end of gaming history. Well,
Shit.
no, hold on. The end of historical gaming, because eventually the next story, when that comes around, that's what's going to happen now. That'll be the new standard.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about this specific topic before we move on to the PS3 shit?
Just real quick, and you guys have alluded to it. I don't know if you guys have made the direct point, but it pretty much blends in with what you guys are saying. But the resale market is dead.
It's over.
That's not existing, and that was a way where sort of people will get to buy games at the price of what the people are willing to pay for, and that's not going to happen anymore. It's all going to be digital. It's all going to be under control of Sony and everyone else.
Yeah.
Somebody also brought this up too, where it's like Sony, and as Brett can attest to, does not have an effective refund system, unlike Steam.
Yeah, not a good one.
Like, in other words, if you don't like a game, or if you don't like, they should at least, if they're going to if this is going to be the only places you can supposedly get these titles, you should be able to get a refund or something for something that you've bought. But they don't offer that. I think in the UK they do offer it, but I don't know how robust it is there. Brian could probably say better than I.
And there's so many avenues of preservation that's lost, because think about, like, in 25 years, someone like has a garage sale, right? They put their PS5 out there. Why would you buy it?
Yeah.
Why would you go to a garage sale and buy that thing? The store will probably be gone. Whatever they're up to, PS7 or 8, will probably be incompatible with it, and you can't get the games anymore. So it's like, yeah, like Carlos said, that resale market is cut off in so many avenues. Just not even just the disc being absent. Now the hardware is at the whims of Sony. It's like it's tied to your account. If you resell it later at a garage sale, you wipe it. What good is it to anyone else?
Yeah, but they'll sell you this hard drive. Like, okay, yeah, that's an incentive right there.
Honestly, it's not even that. That bothers me on just like home labbing / like recycling kind of point. Like, this isn't even like a fucking old Windows laptop that some motherfuckers still decide they want to hunt down because they're hard. This is just, after 7 years, throw this thing away. And it just creates waste. Like, you can't even part it out. Like, you can't even like rip the copper and the goddamn screws out of the thing. You can't even upcycle the fans or whatnot. Some motherfucker out there will gut that shit and turn it into a drone. But instead, you just want to lock it behind proprietary technology and then make it completely obsolete, so you have no choice but to throw away. We're talking about, like, that sounds kind of like an off-the-cuff comment, but like, we're talking about hundreds of millions of units every 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's not a negligible amount of garbage, and it is a combination of the garbage that lasts the longest, pollutes the most, and is the stuff that we honestly need recycled. Like, how many fucking rare earth minerals are we throwing? How much plastic are we back in the environment? Like, not to beat the band about that, not to like fucking high road anybody, but it's not completely irrelevant either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. The last thing I wanted to bring up before we move on to the other thing that has been buried, because of this, is that this is something, and Chris, you have brought it up many, many times. This is something the game industry has wanted for decades. They've always hated the used sales market, Nintendo especially. Now they don't have to worry about them anymore because people are so conditioned to buying digital games. Sony could just say, we're done. And even though there is a lot of furor online, and obviously the Throwdown crew, the Discord, they're not happy about this, ultimately it won't matter. And that's the really fucked up part. Yes, like there have been cases, I'm pretty sure you'll bring it up, Manny, where we have fought against this, but it's going to take a bigger concerted effort, I think. Yeah.
Of what I was going to say, you're right. People have actually been attempting to fight this back in the way that I think people should. Essentially cutting the cord on PlayStation Plus, because PlayStation Plus, is their life, is part of what's also been keeping them afloat for years, right? Where they made it difficult to sort of, cut it off or do all kinds of different little sneaky moves to try to be like, okay, you're going to leave it on, right? So now people are actively looking at it and saying, no, I'm turning this shit off. So, I don't know how many, obviously it's, circumstantial. It's probably just a couple, few people on my line, on my Twitter feed. Yeah. But it's quite a bit. Go ahead.
I cut off both of them. I'm not subscribed to any stream or any service or any monthly subscription on any console anywhere.
Yeah. If you want, I think in general, if people really do want them to listen, and obviously also going with we're going to be talking about next, just cut the cord. You don't actually need to have that subscription. You can still play your stupid Fortnite. You can still play your Marvel Rivals. You can play quite a bit of free-to-play online games. You don't need it.
Honestly, I think that, and I realize I'm kind of cheerleading Brian here, but it's time to fucking ditch the consoles. Honestly, it's even if you don't look at it from a purely numbers perspective, even if the next console is only $600, and that's not going to fucking happen, the amount that you're paying over a lifetime is exorbitant and ridiculous. And they have just finally nickeled and dimed us and hit us to the point where it's not worth it anymore. It's not.
They have this disillusion that gaming is supposed to be a luxury item, right? When it never really supposed to be. Just like going to the movies, it should never be that a luxury item. It should just be like, hey, I got a little bit of extra money, but $500. All right, let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't. But again, they're using all of these current market conditions. How is it current market conditions affect a fucking PlayStation that's been sitting on the fucking shelf for over that amount of time? You're telling me that magically had the manufacturing cost for that thing that's been sitting there for a while all of a sudden went up?
Well, they have, unfortunately, because of the RAM shit,
Because of the RAM shit, but they're obviously again, the ones that are sitting on a shelf should still continue to be that amount of money, and then the next wave of them would be
but
the
you know
ones
how it is, these motherfuckers, man.
Yeah, that's perceived value.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. The ones that have already been manufactured, we're not affected by this shit. But that's a whole other thing. Before, go ahead, bro.
I just want to say, somebody asked me about this shit for fucking Sunday, but GTA is doing the same shit. The problem here is that our entire fucking industry has been basically infiltrated by finance bros. And again, seriously, ask me why GTA's stock price fucking dropped when GTA priced itself. But the short fucking answer is we are now beholden to people on one side who are building hardware for fucking AI and don't give a shit about us as gamers. And we have developers on the other side who have been bought and sold by venture capitalist firms and who are actually genuinely upset when they could fuck us using a little less lube to save a quarter. And, that quarter could be passed on to fucking shareholders. The people wringing the juice out of this are no longer the people even loosely associated. It's not even gamers who grew up, got into gaming, and now they're beholden to corporate profits. It is 100% occupied by bad actors who want to squeeze as much out of you as possible and who are absolutely antagonistic to everything that you like. It is time to stop fucking pulling punches.
Yeah, no, and that ties into this story, actually. The reason all this is happening is because Sony wants to appease the shareholders, right? And to your point, this isn't anything new. Remember, we've been talking about the stupidity of shareholders forever. Remember the Pokemon Go days where investors dropped like Nintendo stock because they didn't own fucking Pokemon Go? Because again, investors are only in it, they're speculators, basically. Just like the comic book industry and shit. Would that happen in the 90s? They're a bunch of speculators. They're just in it for the money. They don't give a fuck. And this is why GTA 6 cost $80. Why fucking places abandoning disc and shit. All that is because of these people that were never supposed to be here in the first place, getting to our fucking hobby and fucking shit up.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the people invested in Sony and the people invested in Rockstar are the same fucking people who are trying to drive the price up across both of them. That shit is not a coincidence, but it's also not a fucking conspiracy. There's just a convergence of the interests of the same handful of waffle twats that want to fuck up my industry and my hobby so that they can make a few extra dollars for a fucking retirement they don't deserve. To never ever fucking play one goddamn video game during that retirement. I am so fucking sick of outsiders coming into shit in this clubhouse. I have finally reached the point where I have gone over the line.
Yeah. I think you cut out there, but yeah. Okay. Actually, before we move on to the next segment, because
one more thing.
Oh,
there's a video. There's a video on that showed up from 2013 of Shuei Yoshida and Adam Boyes.
Oh yeah, the infamous
demonstrating how to share games. I reposted that and I said, realize that these two people that are in this video don't work at PlayStation anymore. What does that tell you?
Yeah. Did you see Evercade? They did their own version of that video. It was hilarious. Mm-hmm. But since he snuck in here while the conversation was going, I want to hear Richard Bailey's thoughts on this situation. Rich, you obviously exactly what we're talking about. What are your thoughts on PlayStation, not having a disc drive or getting rid of discs in general after 2028?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, this is a phenomenal question, Tony. Must apologize for the late arrival as I was having some hard drive issues on this computer.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's gotten hot, but it's all good. So to answer the question, I'm not surprised. I know that in terms of the type of work that you and I do, we normally receive digital review codes of games. So that, I think, started, I mean, that had to be a while. It had to be more than 10 years ago when we started getting codes instead of physical copies. So I knew that this was it was going to come, and I think that they've already confirmed that, yeah, there's a large percentage of players that get games digitally now. So I figured it was only going to be a matter of time before they would consider doing this for everything. I know that PlayStation made that statement. I also saw that Xbox also have alluded to that as well with the Helix coming out, that's going to be digital only. So I'm not surprised. Now, I will say, I do remember the physical copies, the nostalgia of how it felt to go to the store, pick up a game. So I understand with those that will struggle with this, but I've been digital for a while now, so yeah, I get it. I get what they're doing, but I understand that there's outrage, and I sympathize with those. But for me, it is what it is.
The last thing I would say about that sort of stuff is that all of this stuff is all moot because they can easily just take everything away. Yeah. How many games have been delisted and are no longer playable?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing? If here's the thing, if they're expecting people to pay, 70 and $80 and then essentially just throw it all away, that seems, to me, that's sort of stuff. There's no actual guarantee as to how long you can have these things. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, like we alluded to, Sony also made another announcement this week, buried because of this bigger story, but this one is monumental nonetheless. And like I did with the last segment, I will read you what PlayStation said on their blog. Although not the whole thing, because there's a lot of it. But we'll get to I'll at least read the beginning. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we wanted to let you know that we will be closing the PlayStation Store on PS3 as well as on PS Vita. PlayStation Store on PS3 will close in select markets starting this year, followed by global closures for PS3 and PS Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. To ease the transition, players will still be able to download previously purchased content after the closing date for the foreseeable future. So here's the breakdown. So Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua, the PlayStation Store on PS3 will close starting August of this year. Additional Latin American, Middle Eastern countries, the PlayStation Store will start closing in late this year. And then all other countries, I guess including ours, PlayStation Store on PS3 and PS Vita will close in July 2027. So basically for us Americans, we have until July 2027, and those stores will be gone forever. And then they say some bullshit statement. Oh, we know people love these things. Yeah, they love them, but you're getting rid of them regardless. Manny, go ahead, bro, because I know this is the one that really comes to you.
They do this and they have absolutely no solution as to any of this sort of stuff. You have years and years worth of games on there, and there's no fucking solution for like half of these games aren't even available on PlayStation 3. A lot of these games, the only way you can play them is on a fucking Frankenstein PlayStation 3 through fucking streaming. It's not even really playing the goddamn thing. You're literally still playing it on a fucking PlayStation 3. Just it's somewhere else. These guys, like, it's unfortunate to me that this, like, again, like, I don't think the transition would be so hard if there was some sort of solution. And they've had years to figure this sort of shit out. Obviously, they don't want to spend the money in, to try to get these things to work. Even though it's been proven by the mod community that they can actually get all this stuff to work on a current PlayStation 5. So what's the problem? Then the other big thing about this is, like, earlier this year, they had this whole big thing about preservation and, the importance of preservation. They hired this guy who, had this, who did this whole presentation on preservation and the importance of it and keeping games alive and yada, yada within the PlayStation ecosystem. And that guy's, by the way, is totally silent right now because he can't say anything, because he's just as disappointed about this bullshit as everybody else is, because there was no solution. They just probably dropped it down and that's it. I think he posted just a GIF of his disappointment. That's all he could do.
Who was this guy again?
I can't remember. He was just recently put into last few years. He's been doing a bunch of talks, and there's part of this preservation initiative.
Okay.
I can't exactly remember what his name is. I'm actually looking through my old tweets to find the thing that I said to him. But yeah, it's like earlier this year, they were doing this whole big hoopla about the importance of it, him establishing this thing. His name is Garrett Friendly.
Okay.
If you want to read some of this guy's paperwork about their initiative that probably got instantly closed, you probably want to look at his thing. It's some crumbs guy or whatever. I know I'll put it on the thing there. But yeah, anyway, his tweet was just a shot from Full Metal Alchemist where it says it's Major Bradley, I can't remember his name, is Mustang, and he's like, it's terrible, it's terrible raining out here, and he's like crying and shit. and then somebody says, "Oh, Riza says, oh, it's not raining." So
And he says, "Yes, it is." Oh, God damn it, Manny!
yeah, that's it.
How dare you trigger anime trauma in us?
Yep. So it's that. Yeah. It's literally the death of what's his face that he's sort of crying about. But yeah, like this guy can't say anything at all because he's part of PlayStation. So what is he going to say? This is fucking bullshit, and he gets himself fired. So it's like, ooh. And again, like this guy's been doing a lot of work. Like he did quite a bit of interviews with a bunch of companies talking about their like places like Digital Foundry talking about their preservation stuff. And then yeah, it's like all of that work, and it just seems like it was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Who knows if this guy even will have a job?
Probably not. I mean, what's he preserving?
After all of this, because again, like what is PlayStation going to be preserving? And then like, okay, again, so like with all of our
profits.
Yeah. Yeah, with all of this, with all this stuff going on, like there's so many titles that have never been released as physical, so that means like they're all like dust. You can't play Calling All Cars, unfortunately, or fortunately. But there's there's like important titles, like there's Rain, which was one of the sort of independent incubation games that they were putting out like from the PlayStation 3 era. There's Tokyo Jungle. There's a bunch of Japan studio games that are on there. There's so many titles that are just dusted as soon as this store gets closed.
Yeah, and again, you go ahead, bro.
Like that sounds like an abstract thing, but I told Tony this earlier. I'm not sure if any of y'all for a show called Final Space. It was actually a fantastic fucking show, and it got 3 seasons, all of which I bought for $25 a pop on my Amazon Prime. And then after the season, before the final season, they decided about making a show and wrote a tax.
Hey, Brett, you're cutting out. I don't know if you want to adjust your mic a little bit or something.
Hold on. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Okay, yeah. We can hear you. It's just you were breaking up. So yeah, talk now. Maybe you won't break up.
Okay. So basically they wrote it as a tax write-off, which meant it cannot make any more money in perpetuity, meaning that any licensing agreements that would generate income would be problematic for anybody involved. So they had to pull it from distribution completely, including pulling it out of people's libraries who had bought it without a refund, myself included. So as somebody who has had this kind of bullshit rob them of $70 worth of content, but not just that, this show is not available anywhere on the internet except for the fucking Wayback Machine, because they effectively scrubbed it so that it could not make an accidental profit through any royalties and undermine it as a tax write-off. I can only imagine how bad the creator has to feel. That, honestly, I'll put this gently, as a creative, I don't know how that's not a one-way ticket to fucking necking yourself, to like have your entire dream and your baby come to within an inch of its final wrap-up, only to not only be tripped up at the finish line, but then erased like a fucking Thanos snap, is an affront to art as a whole. But as a customer who lost $75 on that shit, I can tell you it fucking sucks. So yeah, and the thing about this whole thing is it sounds like a distant somebody else's problem until it fucking happens. And then you look around like the fucking goddamn Pulp Fiction meme, and like nobody gives a shit because we've all heard about it happening, but suddenly when it happens, you're like, these motherfuckers just stole like $100 from me. Everyone's like, yep, that's the way it happens. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, I guess it doesn't seem like a big deal until it lands in your backyard, and huge fucking deal and nobody fucking cares. Which is
and
the
that's
problem.
that's a lot of this. That's a lot of this where it's like people don't pay attention until it actually affects them. You see a bunch of people pushing back on all of this, saying, "Oh well, this is the future. Oh, they don't want it to work." Those blind supporters out there essentially saying all of this sort of stuff. It's like until the moment comes when you do want to play that game, or and then you realize, oh shit, it was delisted. How many titles have been delisted? By the way, there is also a giant list of all of those games that you can't currently get on PlayStation or any other platform because of licensing agreements. And this is not the whole, hey, you can go download those things, later on. No, it's not any of that sort of stuff. It's like gone.
Yeah,
Gone.
they burned art.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody brought that up too. I mean, it's all related, I guess. It's like, think about, and this is all not only in the past, but also moving forward. You have these racing games, these sports games with all this licensed music. How long are those going to be up in digital stores until they got to be pulled because of some licensing shit, Yeah. And now you can't do anything. You can't even be like, oh, I got the disc for it at least, whatever. Nope, that's gone.
Yeah, because Vanilla Ice decided he didn't want to be on Madden 95 anymore or some equally named bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, though we're going back to the whole PS3, PS Vita thing. Again, it's one of these things, just like with the disc thing. You knew this was going to happen, but it fucking sucks. Because like you said, they're not giving you any alternative at all. It's just, oh, you bought these games. Thank you for your purchase. Get the fuck out. We got what we needed from you,
Exactly. And it's like, there's no, obviously it's like, because, the whole thing with what Chris mentioned with Ford, like, it's like, what about the customer? It seems like none of these places, it's even care. More and more, it's none of these places give a shit about the customer. It's only about, the
fucking shareholders.
So the shareholders, it's like you look at the current AI like situation out there. That's nothing to do with people. You're saying a bunch of people that make consumer grade electronics are just going to turn their back on it because this scam is essentially pulling more money and they can get more money out of it.
Yep. It's nobody gives a fuck about the regular person. They don't give a fuck. It's funny. I had this conversation.
Accept and consume. That's as old as that film is, They Live. It's still just as fucking true.
Yeah, exactly, man. It is very disheartening. We'll see. Because remember, 5 years ago, they tried to pull that store down too, and there was so much backlash that Sony went back on it. This time, man, it looks like they're going to get away with it because no one gives a fuck because they're more worried about the disc stuff,
Yeah, you could like it. I don't know. I don't think they're going to backpedal on this whole disc thing.
No, they're not. They're not.
But what people should be really losing their mind over, and again, it's hidden within the story about discs, is the fact the two stores are getting closed.
It's crazy, man.
Is there any way we can build coalition with the Australian moms? Let's get together, man. Let's find peace somewhere and make sure to reverse all of this.
For real, man. That is wild, bro. But yeah, anything else you guys want to say about the PS3, PS Vita stores?
I'm gonna say this, go onto your eBays and look for Japanese versions of some of those titles, because a lot of those things got releases in Japan and in Hong Kong, and they're in English. So, for some of those games that you really wanted to play on there, so a lot of them had releases. So keep an eye out on that, because it's all going to go away. I mean, granted, you could still download all the stuff that you've done. But all those little icons, like if you wanted a cool special icon, because current PlayStation doesn't actually allow you to get, special icons. They only, you can download them, but they're not like things that you can get. So if you wanted those cool, like Metal Gear ones or the Capcom ones that they put up on there, make sure you fire up that fucking PlayStation 3, because it'll show up on there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, before I forget,
Yeah.
Shout out to QL who gifted a lot of
is that who did
subscribers.
it? Shout out to QL, man. Make it a rain. You know,
make sure I didn't forget before.
Yeah, no, thank
before
you.
I did.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I'm curious because as much as I hate this kind of thing, don't throw out your PlayStation 3 yet, because I have a feeling it's only a matter of time. And this could be one of the few good things that comes out of this whole fucking shit show of a bubble. Somebody is going to use an AI to backwards engineer an ad hoc post-market PlayStation network that hosts ghost games. I virtually fucking guarantee. Give it a handful of years, if that.
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace to the PS3 and PS Vita.
Well, we'll probably have to say that in
we will in July
next.
Yeah, we will
next a year from now. We'll hold a eulogy for the old PSN.
Unless something else.
I'm waiting for somebody to weapon it, because I'm telling you, like, if this Stop Killing Games idea comes along, then the idea of them shutting down all access would be in a moral gray area, which means that while they would have to support it, it wouldn't necessarily be able to shut down homebrewing / emulators. And I think that when you talk about consoles that have a network connection and are built for downloading games, you have a really unique intersection of, okay, so how does homebrewing and downloading content that you're not legally allowed to make money from, where's the intersection from that? Because it's going to be really hard to really stop that kind of thing. And I can see almost a Linux-based future, or a future where, you know, they have an aftermarket kind of Linux-ish thing that replaces the PSN if they're not allowed to scrub it. I'll be very interested to see what the customer base does in retaliation, because I know that some of them are not just going to sit there and take that shit.
I mean, to be honest, I'm sure there's a bunch of people already now just looking to essentially just download and catch as many of those titles as they can before it all comes down, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if Sony will be able to stop people from breaking open the operating system for something that they've essentially bricked. I can't see them having a legal leg to stand on.
Here's the thing. They haven't said that they're going to be bricking the consoles. They just said that they're just bricking the network and essentially,
Yeah, they never said the bricking the consoles. That was never a thing.
They're not bricking consoles, but it's like, you can't. The idea is that you can't make any sort of purchases and the store doesn't exist anymore. At least from what the stupid press release says, the only thing that you can do on there is re-download the shit that you've already downloaded, that you've already bought. Which, again, how long can you do that? you know?
Yeah, and it depends. Like, I don't remember if that was. I think that was when day one patches had already started to become a thing. So you could argue like it's technically an option, but it's non-functional. And that's the way that they want it until the community makes it functional. And then does Sony have the legal right to step in and stop them once the community it's one thing to be like, oh, it's unsupported. Oops, you can't do anything. But we're quickly closing a legal gap where you actually have to then stop people from being able to do this kind of stuff. And when you actively abandoned it, as we're seeing with Stop Killing Games, that's mostly a Europe thing, but the sentiment it's spreading. So I see an inevitable collision between them trying to basically turn this shit into the ghost equivalent of vaporware, and then the community saying, if you're abandoning it, we have the legal right to pick it up. And I don't know if there's a response to that.
I don't know. It would be interesting because, again, this is the phrase everybody keeps using, and I kind of agree because I'm like, what else is there? If buying a game doesn't mean you own it, then piracy doesn't mean you're stealing it, right?
Exactly.
So yeah. By the way, Brett, about Stop Killing Games, they apparently were talking to Congress, and Congress, American Congress, and they just shut them out. Like, no, we're not listening to you. So it's gonna have to be the Europeans to save us in this case, because America said, at least Congress said, no, you guys are a bunch of clowns.
Well, I mean, I hope that changes as it continues to pick up in Europe. But even if it doesn't, I don't know if you I'm sure they will probably try and find a way, but really making that kind of thing regional is going to be very difficult for any company that tries to do it. especially when you try and justify, oh no, we're doing this in Europe, but not here. And I'm sure there's already somebody in the chat who can prove me wrong.
No,
but I'm just
by the
saying,
way, Brett, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because guess who stopped it? The fucking ESA. The fucking ESA. Of course they did.
Of course they stopped it.
Yeah, here's the story. The first U.S. Stop Killing Games bill has failed in a California Senate committee after the ESA opposed it. Fuck the ESA, man, because they need to control everything, don't they?
They opposed it? Like, they weren't even facilitating people opposing it. If they opposed it, these fucking cunts.
Yeah. So, So
the E3 committee.
E3 committee. That's right. Yeah. All right,
You
man.
petty pieces of shit.
Yeah.
I do have a question. It's
throw it in
and
there.
it's sort of it's more related. And this is a question show.
No,
it's more related to the
previous question.
It's more related to the first topic.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
What would I think maybe Manny would be the best to answer this because I think he's all day physical as opposed to some more all day digital.
Shout out to All Day Digital wherever you are, man, with your 2 wives, bro.
Yeah. Well, here's my question: Would a good and this is probably a no, but I'm still gonna ask it. Would a good consolation for these companies to that are not releasing physical copies? Would a good consolation ever be something like, okay, we'll do a limited run of game X? Like, let's say,
pun intended, with
Red Dead
limited
3.
run.
Well,
Man, they just stopped making games for the good consolation.
well, the thing about it is remember, like, on the last time we did talk about, like, the question show, we talked about this almost this same sort of topic where it's like, okay, so if everything's going digital, then the assumption would have been like, okay, there would be a disk drive, right? So, like, now there's obviously there's not going to be any sort of disk drive, because I said at the time, I'm like, okay, I see what a lot of what they're doing as of late, right? Where they're doing physical copies, but they're doing them like a few months later, almost like after they have had their day one patch and a bunch of fixes, right? And then finally they gold a disc and then they put it out. I'm okay. I was okay with that sort of thing, but I was like, at the same time, I was like, okay, so if you're already going down the line and waiting for these versions, these, supposedly gold versions of these games to come out, then, give us a little bit more, give us a book. If this is supposed to be for like an enthusiast market or for a, collector's market, then, do it up a little bit, like I even put up the idea. It's like the game Slitterhead by, Boca Game Studios, the same guys the same director of Silent Hill and Forbidden Siren and Gravity Rush. The only version of Slitterhead that you can currently buy is a really nice super edition of that game, and it doesn't cost any more than anything else that's out on the market. In fact, it launched at $50. $50, you got an art book, you got a soundtrack, you got stickers, all of this sort of stuff, and the game. So I'm like, if you're gonna go down that line, if you're gonna say, okay, you're gonna wait like maybe an additional 3 months to play this physically, we'll sweeten the deal for you, since we already fucking made our money on the goddamn console, the digital version or whatever.
Here's something I want to address real quick. For Wood Pit on YouTube, this is something I wanted to bring up. I kept slipping my mind because he says, I'm guessing companies, they could do physical, like limited collector's editions. Yeah, they can, but here's the thing. For what? There's not going to be any discs anymore. You're still going to just get an empty box.
It's not. It's like you're still getting an empty box. So it's like you're playing pretend like there's a disc inside of there. Like, okay, what's the other thing? Oh, I don't know. The consoles have USB drives, right? So what did they sell you? Like a little USB stick with the game on it?
Yeah,
you're not gonna fucking do that.
Yeah, Kuo literally just said that too. That's funny. Go ahead, Brett.
I just want to point this out for any of the non. This isn't about the cost of pressing a disc. As somebody who is old enough to have burned CDs, I can tell you that shit is dirt cheap. This is about ownership and rights. And this is done intentionally to subvert those. This has nothing to do with cost-saving measures, printing a disc That shit is negligible.
No, you're 100% right. Man, Brett, you took me back. You know how many fucking burnt discs I used to have, bro? Fuck.
Like $10.
Yeah, you bought them mad cheap,
Yeah,
you know?
Who remembers going to CompUSA and buying the 100 stack of
Yeah,
TDKs?
Oh yeah.
Fucking real of that shit. Then you just like burn it. I like for like that and a quarter's worth of electricity and some dubiously found songs. You had yourself some CDs.
Yep.
Does anybody remember the point? And for me, this is mind blowing.
Oh,
It was you would only burn CDs, right? Like 14, 15 tracks. When you learned about data discs and putting information to those and burning to those, I'm like, yo, I get videos and movies and songs. Excuse me.
Oh,
that
man.
shit was game changing.
Those were the days. All right, man.
Waiting all night to download a song, and waiting all morning to burn it into a CD.
Yo, somebody asked us a question for the anime show. We got to go down this road, man.
We can use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
Remember, like, for those who don't know, this sounds absolutely wild. We would freely float around content and then print it to discs and share it with friends and then sail the high. We bought things. Movie studios didn't go out of business. They tried to launch entire campaigns. If you you wouldn't download a car, would you? As if they actually expected us to say, no, we would never download a free car. And then the internet universally went, idiot. But yeah, just like the difference is 100%, 180 degrees the opposite direction. Like we used to have such freedom over our content that we could just rip it off whatever media, put it on the internet, and share it with strangers for free, only to have the government lightly finger wag at us. And now we live in a dystopian hellscape. That's just irony.
It's all about the thing about it is it's all about the control of information, and it's funny that the Kojima's quote from like 2021 sort of resurfaced again, talking essentially about this. Again, it's not like people are like, oh man, he predicted it all. I'm like, no, this is like looking down the road and seeing the construction, the construction, and knowing that you need to make a detour, but then they try to give you no option to make the detour. You're stuck on it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about all of this. It's like they keep flashing around. Oh, it'll be better for the consumers. Oh, give people choices. What's the choice? Yeah. There's no choice here. The only choice is you.
Yeah,
and that should to be honest, that like, and then they could use the whole situation like, oh well, our digital codes are on Amazon. Really? And you can't buy it directly from some other source. You have to buy this.
That's the thing I want to touch on real quick, because they said you could buy games from PlayStation Store or retail outlets. What are you buying from the retail outlets? A fucking code? That's exactly it. Have you seen the Xbox section? I have not.
Of late at any store.
They have an Xbox section?
There is no Xbox. There's one shelf that's an Xbox section, and it has little things for cards.
Wow.
That's the Xbox section. And in the front of it, it's or in below the little section is the fucking consoles that have been collecting dust for months. So that's what they essentially are going to do. So that now would be, if you go to a store, you pick up a card. But again, it's like you're picking up a
card for what? Like, are you buying
a card with a code on it?
No.
PlayStation Network.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, because it's not going to be like, are you going to pick up a code for Call of Duty, for Assassin's Creed, like that? I don't think
it's going to go. No, even if you do, it's just going to link through the very thing that you got in your car to avoid. But now that you've pulled in the parking lot, you get flocked the second that you come in, and then you get variable price at the fucking checkout counter.
Because
we live in Blade Runner without the holograms.
Because all of the stores have gone to e-ink, adjustable things, so they could easily just swap the prices around based on the person that's there.
Yeah, that's what those sensors and the pillars are for. Like we're just driving madly towards like the war. Like we've cherry picked the worst of all the dystopian corpo lord hellscapes, and we've duct taped them together with no hoverboards, fucking no like holographic anime girls. Like what is the point of all of this? Like nobody's got a fucking Johnny Silverhand on. What are we doing?
Wait, Manny. It's like Minority Report. It's going to be like, oh, I switched my eyes out. Hello, Mr. Nakamura.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Reggie says, Tony, the reason why a person might buy from a retailer is to prevent buying it straight from the digital store for security purposes. Okay, but that was not what I was asking. I was asking, what are you buying? I'm not saying I didn't ask why you would do that.
Why
I was
are
asking,
you buying?
That was not my question. My question was, what are you buying? Because again, my first thought was like, are you going to buy? Because they had these before, right? Buy a card for Call of Duty, buy a card for Fortnite, buy a card for this. It just seems kind of stupid. It's like, so they're basically just going to sell you, here's a code for 3 months of PlayStation or some shit like that. That's probably what it's going to be, you know?
No, it's not going to be that.
Also,
it's like what Xbox has. They have their cards for their specific games, and even Nintendo has it to an extent where you can literally see that because they have their little goofball card system too. If you remember, their digital cartridges, as they like to call them. Those are just cards too.
Yeah, they are.
Sit on a
Yeah, no, I was genuinely asking because I'm just going to be honest. I don't buy games, so I don't know like what are these cards exactly? Are they just PSN cards, Xbox cards?
They just like a picture, like a themed card. Like in other words, it looks like a Switch card or an Xbox card, and it has the game cover on it, and then on the back it's got.
So it is individual games then.
Yeah, it's individual games.
Here's where it gets weird.
Explain.
A lot of times, if you go like to buy a Call of Duty, like back in the day, that shows my date, but like if you go to buy like a Call of Duty PlayStation card, it would put a $60 or $70 credit on your account, but it wouldn't buy you Call of Duty directly.
Yeah,
it would just credit you, and like that isn't in by itself. Like that shit's insidious. Like they are doing that. They know you went there to buy Call of Duty, but they're going to try and entice you to spend some of that money on, so that you have to go back to the store or enter your credit card information, which is just some fucking evil level, like Lex Luthor grade bullshit, if you ask me. Of just, hey, I know that you went all the way to get this, but before you head home with your money, how about some magic beans? Like, it's just so ridiculous. I can't.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
This just came down 3 hours ago, and I want to give a shout out to Commando Striker for fucking The Verge, man. I don't want to pay for your shitty. Okay, I was able to get through it. Just 3 hours ago, this was posted. Sony's Disc Factory is already being repurposed.
Yep.
They're not changing. They're not changing this, guys. And real quick, if you guys remember, we also did a story months ago. Actually, it was a while ago, basically saying that Sony's going to stop producing, Blu-rays. It's all tied together.
Actually, no. They are going to be continuing to do Blu-rays. But yes, because they have the Disney license.
Okay, but Manny, what about this one that literally just happened now? That their Disc Factory is being repurposed.
It's being repurposed for normal Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Well, just because they repurpose a factory or even some factory doesn't mean it's not necessarily binary.
It might be a different sort of those things. But if Sony they just recently got the Disney license to produce all of their films.
Yeah.
So why would they close down a Blu-ray factory?
Yeah, they're not closing it down. They're repurposing it. They're not closing it down. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also the thing is, I don't know if they do what they do there, but I don't know if they the game factories and the normal Blu-ray factories are two different things. I suspect they might be.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, this
not like,
but what you're saying is definitely true. They've already started this shit. It's already in motion.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think it's pretty normal that, like, even if they repurpose them or even if they don't phase them out completely, like, they're going to be making less because they have said that they're making less. So they're going to repurpose those factories. I think it's pretty normal. One thing I did want to touch on before I get too far, forget for like a time, to whoever said you go to the store for security. Like if you're talking about security of not having your credit card on the internet, cool, sure. But if you're talking about security in the sense of like anonymity and not data harvesting, like I got bad news for you. That all that stuff that we've been talking about, like they have your name tagged to every fucking stoplight and associated license plate, everything like that. Like, unfortunately, you live in a world where all that shit's already being harvested, so you're not really dodging a lot by picking up a PlayStation card at the store. You're just kind of adding extra steps, and I hate that. I hate everything about that. I don't want to say it, and I don't want it to be true, and I don't like it any more than you do hearing it, but here we are.
So when I'm reading, again, I'm literally just reading the story now. So basically by 2028, it's only going to be producing 10% of that volume of discs. So maybe that may account for the Disney thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're basically going to keep it open for that.
It sounds like Manny Dunshire. They're switching from making games to making Disney DVDs.
Yep.
Which is probably a pretty easy shift to repurpose, which makes sense for why they would choose that.
Yeah. There's I forgot who the two companies. There's only a few companies that are like full on in doing like Blu-rays. I know that Sony is one of them, and Disney actually said that they're not going to be doing them anymore. And then I think Paramount has a big one too. So, and they actually have a couple of other companies as well that they're doing their Blu-rays for. So it's like
I'm sure they're finding a way to offset their costs. I think that's just normal.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need gamers, Australian moms, and the Russian couple that went up the Empire State Building to get all this back.
My thing
Make
was
the banner.
Yeah, my thing was like, it wasn't that the thing I found insane wasn't that they went up there. It's that they went up there on such a hot ass day. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's even hotter up there.
Did you hear the police? Did you hear the police radio?
Oh, it was
thing?
great. Like, these jackasses climbed up. Oh yeah, what they did? It's great. So it's such New York thing, And then it was like, what, in this weather?
What, in this weather? Oh, okay.
Oh man.
They said two geniuses. Yeah, two geniuses climbed up the Empire State Building.
Oh man. Brett, since you already kind of ranted about GTA, I'm going to cut that story. But again, if somebody wants to ask Brett about his thoughts on GTA 6, please ask for the Sunday show.
I have feelings.
Yes. And I cut out this other story about Sony hardware. You could ask us about that too, because I want to get to this last story because this will take us a little while too. Not as long as the first section, but we got to talk about it. Because remember, who was fucking up before this? Xbox, baby. And I want to give a shout out to Polygon. They actually
have to be more specific, Tony.
Yeah, I know. We will. Polygon actually detailed all the fuckery that's been going on with Xbox in the past 2 weeks, and we're gonna go through all of it. Because it's a lot. Okay, so we kind of talked about this already. The reports are now saying that just like PlayStation, Xbox is going to stop disc games, and that's going to happen with Project Helix. It doesn't surprise me, not only because of PlayStation's direction, but if Project Helix is supposed to be a more PC-like system, makes sense. There's no disc drive. So that's... Dude, yeah, go ahead.
Just take what Sony is doing and do the other thing.
Yeah, right.
Instead of doing the same bullshit,
people
just
already
do the other thing.
Yeah, people are already adding Asha Sharma. God, Queen, save us! Put a disc drive in this shit, please. Oh man.
At least give people the option, right? Like even if it's an external disc drive, even if it's a side piece of equipment, even if it's a rare thing that you have to, like, even if Walmart's not carrying their fucking discs, give people the option.
Yeah, that's the thing. Give people options. Because, Brad, you and I are in the same boat. We're mostly digital guys, but we want people to have options, Yeah.
Like, don't take away people's options of how they want to approach their hobby. Don't dictate to them the terms and conditions of which they can have fun. And you're going to find, surprisingly, they have less animosity towards you.
Yeah. The next thing here, we touched on some of this stuff. Basically, IO Interactive was working on a fantasy game, and it turns out Xbox was the one that was funding it. They've cut off that funding, so that's not happening anymore. The Blade game is on thin ice because Arcane may be shut down. For those who didn't know, they were developing their own Blade game, and we don't know if it's going to come out or not.
It was.
No,
It
this is
had a
very
trailer and
interesting.
everything.
What happened, Brett?
But
It's very interesting to me. I'm seeing two distinctly different things. And I actually might be starting to lean more into this Save Us Queen mentality myself. Like, I don't know that Microsoft is setting her up for success. In fact, it almost feels like they have given her free run of what's essentially a skeleton crew and a stripped down system.
Oh, people have had that theory that she's basically there to do palliative care. People have said that.
you mean Chris?
Chris
Yeah,
said
I
it,
get that.
Yeah, Chris said that. Okay, so there's the Blade story. We State of Decay 3. Oh boy. GamesBeat reported that Undead Labs, along with 3 previously named studios, Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory, are at risk of closure. Undead Labs is currently working on State of Decay 3, which was featured in the Xbox's showcase. By the way, that showcase was basically showing a bunch of games that are probably not gonna never come out, like Senua's Sacrifice 3.
Well, here's the thing,
Can
Tony.
you list for studios again? I don't think I heard you right.
Oh, that's right. You haven't been You haven't been in the world. So
Yeah, I came out of my Hobbit hole for a month. Did you just say Ninja Theory, bitch?
Oh yes.
They did.
Yeah.
Remember, and Brett, they announced a new Senua game, and then 3 days later, Asha, your queen, I'm just being facetious there, but the queen said, like these two, we have to make cuts. And this is one of the studios that may get cut.
Tony, doesn't it seem like the Xbox showcase was less of a showcase for us and more of an auction sale?
That's exactly what it seems like.
Oh shit!
It's so true.
No.
Yeah.
Because all those games are on the chopping block.
All of them.
They just showed them.
They showed them. That's what it was because, Chris, to your point, that's the report basically saying that the reason they showed those trailers is so whoever they want to sell the studios to, they could be like, hey, look what they're working on. You want to buy them? So it's an auction house, just like you said.
Well, it could also make investors want to invest. Like they could say, hey, this comes with hype, and whoever picks up this IP is going to build like hype. Again, speculative hype is really what the stock market boils down into.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how many other suckers can you get to believe the stupid bullshit that you believe. So while it sounds insane to say, we're going to make people hyped about a game for a studio that we're closing down so that when we sell the studio, we can sell the hype with the closed studio. That sounds retarded. And it is, in fact, retarded. But it's also apparently a thing that happens.
Yeah, they probably mailed the tape to Saudi Arabia. Replace Senua with Salvatore Ganacci. Yeah, you can put him in.
I'll say this. I remember a while ago, I don't know if you were, I can't remember if you were on, but a while ago I mentioned this being a really weird situation when during all the financials that were happening, for some reason Ninja Theory decided to share their financial information. And I thought it was weird because it's like most third party companies don't talk about that shit. They're just like, okay, it's a part of whatever Xbox's financials.
So Brett, I don't know if you remember. So basically what happened is Ninja Theory posted their own financials. That would be the equivalent of Sony Santa Monica posting their financials. It's like, wait, what? The fuck are you doing? Now we know why. Now we know why.
Or Media Molecule.
Or Media Molecule or fucking Naughty Dog posting their own financials.
Okay, and see, this is a thing that I'm starting to, and I really like. For serious, somebody asked me about this because I'm not going to go too into depth, but the way Rockstar's stock price dropped when they announced that they had an $80 option shows that the people who are funding and in charge of money are antagonistic to our wants and needs. And I think that we're seeing this played across the entire industry in a variety of different ways. I'm going to really sit down and have to think about this, but I think this might be a different expression of that same kind of idea where This is now just speculative company pachinko gambling. It is no longer even investment as we would call it in any sense of investing in somebody to make a product. This is closer to like celebrity betting with companies.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think that's a problem.
Here's something else you probably missed out on. Basically, a couple of companies, like the one I'm forgetting the names now, the one that did the Bayou game, New Orleans game, with the weird animation.
Midnight something or other.
Yeah, whatever.
Was it Compulsion?
Compulsion. Okay. So, Brett, what happened was basically when Compulsion Games was bought by Microsoft, they were specifically told, do not worry about how much money your game makes. We got you. You're fine. We got Game Pass. It's all good. Then during the middle of that, they're like, oh, no, you got to turn a profit now. And that happened with a few other studios.
Well, I'm sorry. That I call bullshit on both ways of that. If you, as the head of a game studio, acquired, and the company who acquired you says, don't worry about making a profit.
That's what Manny said.
Fucking them, I have a bridge to sell you.
Yeah. That's literally what Manny said when we talked about it. It's like, you guys took that deal? Really? You know?
Yep. You think it's like you guys are like, they come in like, and they're like, oh, hey, like, how does that make any sort of sense? You're telling me we have a blank check? There's no such thing as a fucking blank check.
No such thing.
And even if they said something like that, they should have still said, no, this is our budget and we're sticking to it. Because if you know, in the film industry, right, there, you know, animation, if you come in under budget, your team gets to keep that, or, you know, the way Hollywood works is that the producers keep that fucking money anyway, you know, and that's why they would cut down the budget of you know, internal budgets. But anyway, you're telling me that they just believed that? No, they shouldn't have did that. They should have said, no, we don't believe anything that Microsoft says at this juncture. This is what we're going, this is the budget for our game, and this is what we're making, and this is what we're going to make it for.
Also, you believed a known liar?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, this next thing, this one just happened this week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. On June 29th, a variety of reports claimed that Xbox was planning further adjustments to Game Pass. According to Fernando Rizzo, a consultant who advises self-publishing indie studios, Xbox has suspended discussions with third-party studios to sign deals to put their games on Game Pass. Rizzo recently said on the Business of Video Games podcast that he's spoken to a number of developers negotiating with Xbox who, quote, got the rug pulled outright from under them, end quote. Rizzo's impression is that their deals were, quote, on pause rather than canceled as Xbox seeks to release its Game Pass. Wait, hold on, let me read this. As deals are on pause as Xbox seeks to reassess its Game Pass operation. Right? So that ties back in with the thing before. They got the rug pulled out of them because they came under one set of conditions, and then halfway through, they were told something else. So now, whatever third-party deals they had, they're on hold right now with other studios. Wild shit, bro. That is crazy. Next one here.
I am curious. As the home of the accountability cast, will everybody that shit on Game Pass for how bad it was for developers still keep your same fucking attitude and saddle up and say this is a morally good thing that third-party companies got their Game Pass deal cut, or are you just going to come back into the shadows and quietly change your opinion, had a spotlight cast on you?
Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, because this is just more proof that Game Pass is horrible for fucking developers. That's just proof right there, you know?
I mean, like, you know, the Ori guys said it. They said that it wasn't good. Like, after a certain point, it just wasn't effective.
We've had developers literally tell you why Game Pass is a bad deal, and people didn't fucking listen to them, you know?
Yeah, you have people saying that, oh, well, that's just circumstantial. No. Why don't you think that there's more of those things here? What they even in one of the reports, they said that what was Game Pass supposed to be? It was literally a lot of the development was just shit to fill it up.
Yep.
So it didn't matter. So they were just like okaying a bunch of shit, here and there just to fill the damn thing up.
Yep, all this shit is coming out in the woodwork right now. Like they just wanted to just throw everything on Game Pass. Don't worry about how much your game costs to develop. We got you. This is some more proof that Game Pass is horrible for the developers. As I've been saying for fucking years. Anyway, so they're cutting out freebies for Call of Duty, which is bad if you're a Call of Duty person. And we did talk about this last week. Yet another Xbox console price hike. Right now, the Series S. Oh yeah, again, Brett, you've been gone, bro.
How many? What the fuck is going on?
The industry is imploding.
How much?
Let's just say the Series S now costs as much as the Series X did at launch. $500 for the cheap one.
What?
And the Xbox Series X is now $800.
What? Huh? Is this like a mid-gen refresh or something?
No,
Like
nothing like that.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. That's cool. That's fine. No, that's fine. It's great here. I like this.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the third time now. Console price I've gotten for Xbox, and you motherfuckers think it's not going to happen with PlayStation?
I was about to say, what's PlayStation currently sitting at now?
Wait, it's already happened with PlayStation.
Twice. It's going to happen a third time. Right?
Oh yeah,
it's going to happen a third time. It's gonna. I predict. Strike me dead if I'm wrong. It's going to happen again this year, right? And here's because the reports are already saying in Q3 of this year, RAM prices are going to rise up another 30 to 40%, and then by Q4 they're going to raise up another 20 to 30%. Yeah, we live in the best timeline, don't we?
Here's the thing that we're going to hate to hear, but is 100% the truth. Steam and their Steam box price, because I was absent for some of that, but I also looked into some of it too. I think about Steam is Steam's very forward looking, right? They made a sovereign operating system just as Microsoft is biting the bullet and crashing Windows, right? Like they know what the fuck is up. So here's the thing nobody's gonna like. The price of the Steam machine is just the price of the next gen consoles, and Steam is the only company being.
Here's the thing. I've been telling people that, and they think I'm fucking crazy.
You're not. I just came. I did not even know you were telling people that, and I 100% echoed you. Not fucking crazy. Steam has a habit of giving you the bad information front-loaded years before it happens. People don't like it. They talk shit, and then in hindsight, they're like, "Oh, because Steam is the only company that can stick to its fucking guns long enough for that circle to fucking close."
Here's the thing.
And that's because they're the only. It's not publicly traded, and honestly should be the company we're all fucking rallying behind at this point.
They were already forthcoming, like very forthcoming about
they
the RAM
admitted
situation.
actually, yeah, Manny, not to cut you off, but this ties in with it. They literally said this was supposed to be $799, this system, but the RAM price is fucking shit up. They admitted it, right? And this ties in with a story I actually cut out, but it pertains to this. A report said that right now it costs $960 to manufacture the PlayStation 6. And you motherfuckers are going to try to tell me it's going to cost $600 like these idiots have been on Twitter for the last week? You're fucking insane. Think about it like this, bro. The regular PS5 is like $750, right? It is more powerful than the Steam machine, which is $1,000. And you're trying to tell me that the PS6 is going to cost less than a PS5 Pro. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Oh, you guys actually think that like prices are going to come back down? Do you think that the people who are making money hand over fist selling pickaxes and shovels, the AI crowd, are going to willingly cut their own profits to be good people? That's technically illegal, right?
Yeah.
Like not maximizing shareholder profit is a crime. That's the kind of fucking dark timeline we live in.
Thank you,
it's
Dodge.
Not happening.
Thank you, Dodge. Man, I'm mad. Woodpit. Yeah, exactly, bro. If these consoles cost $1,200, you're gonna be fucking lucky they cost that much, because they're gonna be a lot more. Fucking insane, man. All right.
Yeah, Steam is going to be the cheaper console
for
at the
now
lower-
until those prices go up too. You know?
I mean, they will, but here's the thing. Steam does the weird kind of thing where, like, they sold out of all the Steam Decks at the price it cost them to manufacture them before they raised the price. The kind of thing that we said we should do before, but Sony would never fucking do that. Steam has already done that. So what I'm convinced that they looked at their they looked at the market forecast. They looked at all of the data that they have. They have access to like actual analytics and data of what people are using, how often people are upgrading, and they realized, oh shit, there's going to become a point where PC gaming is almost unsustainable, and we're going to have a low-powered Xbox Series S equivalent from Steam to make sure that the hardware out there persists to keep our software infrastructure intact and making money, right? They gave you the bad news out of the gate like a 1950s dad. Meanwhile, Sony over here acting and pretending like, oh, no, it's just going to be a little bit more. Microsoft is already fucking dipping into your back pocket, right? That shit is just going to keep going up. And if hardware prices go down, they are not going to go back down with them. That shit does not happen. So what that means to me is, and I've been around the block long enough to watch, Valve works in terms of years, not months, years, right? Like they knew that this privacy stuff was going to be an issue. That's why SteamOS is at, like, a lot of people are asleep on SteamOS, right? Like they're like, oh, it's Steam's answer to a safe Linux environment. Yeah, that's true. It's also entering the operating system space just as Microsoft is completely fucking up and Chrome OS is leaving a lot of people with issues. It is the only operating system that doesn't spy on you and sell your metadata back.
So, Brett, you may be having issues, bro. You instantly cut out.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
It looks like you're still talking, but nothing's coming
I can hear
through.
him.
Oh, I can't hear him. Might be on my end.
No, I'm
there
still
you're
talking.
back.
Hold on.
You're back. You're back
Okay.
now. Yeah.
I said SteamOS is the only operating system that doesn't harvest and sell your data. And watch that become important in the next 2 years. Steam knows that shit. They work in a timeline of years. So again, when they say we're coming out and selling you a modestly powered system that doesn't stand up to the current generation of console, and we're selling it at an increased price, everyone's like, what, are you just trying to fuck us over? No, they're telling you the market conditions as they're going to exist in 2 years. You need to listen.
Yeah. All right. And the last two things here, we already touched on this. The studios are on the chopping block. Again, for you guys who want a refresher, Compulsion Games, the makers of Peabody award-winning South of Midnight. That award didn't do shit for you, did it?
Well, the awards don't.
It kind of embarrassed the Peabody
Awards don't equal money. That's what anybody in Hollywood will tell you.
Exactly. Yeah. Hi-Fi Rush won a bunch of fucking awards. You know,
they won a bunch of fucking awards. Where did that take them?
Double Fine, as we talked about.
Straight into my heart, Manny.
Yeah. Double Fine.
I mean, I
Schafer.
love them.
Yeah.
Tim Schafer. Yeah. You know, again, like I wish there was some way that they could at least push them off on their own. You know, I almost feel like Tim Schafer probably this is him losing another studio again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, and this one I got to be fair. It's his own fucking fault. I'm looking at you, Broken Age. Like you promised and undelivered on a game, fucking decade, dragging people along with your reputation. And when you did finally release something, you released half a game and asked people to wait another 2 years for you to get your shit together. No wonder people lost faith in you because you did a bad job.
Yeah. And then, as we said, and yes, Brett, is true, Ninja Theory's on the chopping block as well.
Ninja Theory, there is no fucking excuse for that, all right? That is just fucking uncalled for. God damn it, Microsoft. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Right? That's like adopting a child to fucking drown them in the bathtub. What the fuck?
Yeah, go ahead, Rich. What's up?
Okay, a few quick things to say. First and foremost, I agree with everything Brett said about Broken Age because I remember when that game came out, and I was also disappointed that it was a half-assed experience. So, yes, I agree with that. Number two, I will say this, and this is a bit relevant because you guys were talking earlier about Game Pass and stuff like this. Next week, the Dark Ages DLC drops, Revelations. So I did some research because I know we were talking before about how did Doom the Dark Ages do. And then I come to find out the game sold under 1 million copies. But guess what, guys? The metrics on Game Pass, 2.2 million players. So this is a perfect example of how Game Pass can impact certain games, because a lot of people just said, well, I'm not going to buy this game when I can just play it on Game Pass for a much cheaper price. And that is unfortunate. So I say that because obviously they're still talking about studios that they may cut. I better not hear anything about ID Software having cuts next week. Because, that would be unfortunate.
I got to say, as much as I agree that Game Pass cuts into the sales of games, I think ultimately that's a data issue. Like, if the world were right, and let's be clear, it's not, but if the world were right, you would count that as over 3 million people who accessed the Doom the Dark Ages, and you would count almost, you'd probably be able to actually the fucking data and say, the people who access this game, what other games did they access on Game Pass that month? Well, what's that? None. So we're going to count, at least from a dollar amount, all of those people as being subscribed. As long as that's the primary thing they're accessing on Game Pass, that money should be earmarked as from this game, or at the very least, if they pass a 20-hour or 8-hour whatever, that this counts towards a sale. The problem here is Microsoft inventing their own bullshit metrics and then being too dumb to learn how to fucking read them.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a user error. That is a them problem, not an industry problem, not a game problem, not an economics problem. That's just you being too dumb to read your own handwriting. And frankly, it's inexcusable.
Yeah. Rich, it's funny when you started off, because I didn't know where you were going with this. Because you started off saying next week, Doom, Dark Ages, and I was like, that is very appropriate because that's what's going to happen with Microsoft next week. It will be Doom and the Dark Ages for that company. If what we're hearing is true, you know.
Well, what do we know exactly? Can we get, like, I've heard the rumors, but I've not heard do anything but
again. We've already said it. These 3 studios may be gone, and on top of that, Brett, all these like Jason Schreier guys like that, you know, and other people have verified it. And over 1,000 employees will be cut. Even some PR folks that I personally know are going to be cut. So it's multiple sources that have good track records. You know,
but right. So like we're still hearing this on the wind. Just being clear. I'm not saying it's not true.
Basically, it's guys that have reported on stuff before who have almost always been right. So there's no reason to doubt it. And Brett, the fiscal year ended, so you know.
Oh yeah, I was curious whether there's any official announcements of this. Like,
no, not yet. It's all reports from like anonymous sources or whatever. But it comes from guys who have been accurate about this stuff in the past.
Okay, so what's the red herring that the PR team is going to throw out? What big news is Microsoft going to try and throw out to distract people next week?
That's a completely different subject right there.
No, I don't see that, and that's the thing. I think that. Like for example with Sony, I think
they're going to pop out of Anna Nicole Smith.
No, I think that PR teams exist and they never don't do their job. They do a bad job. So like again, like with Sony, I think that the talk about not making new discs, especially on the tail end of GTA, was honestly a rider to distract people from the fact that they were shutting down the store for the PS3. I think that alone that would have made a thing, but you tie in 2 rage-inducing things, one that somebody else is doing, and you kind of like overtake the fact that like, oh, you're just erasing all of this art. Oh, you're also doing this other shitty thing. Oh, but somebody else is also doing this shitty thing. It's kind of like a shell game. So I'm wondering if Microsoft is just going to let the bad news fly, whether they're going to try and fly some bullshit press release about something good happening or some engagement metrics. So I'll be watching to see what kind of smokescreen they throw up if they do.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all the bad stuff that's been happening with Xbox. Literally, Xbox had so much goodwill. People were actually happy about Xbox for the first time in whoever knows how long after the Summer Game Fest showing and all that stuff. It was like, oh man, Xbox is back. And then literally 2 days later, the fucking roof fell. It's bad.
Good thing Microsoft accidentally almost did a good job.
Yeah. So yeah, next week, again, the reports are saying it's going to be quote unquote a bloodbath. So, and apparently, and Rich, I want you to jump on this. Sources are saying this is going to be one of the worst layoffs in video game history. So, yeah.
That is 100% correct. You mentioned the 3 studios that they also mentioned, but they also alluded to that Arcane might be a part of this. Yeah. You know, they're working on the Blade game, and obviously, right now that's an up in the air decision. I also saw earlier today they said they may consider doing something with Obsidian, but then Jason Schreier came out and said no, that studio is safe. But he also mentioned that a lot of things are still being decided. So all of this stuff we're going to find out about this on Monday. The actual date, on the 6th. Mm-hmm. You guys asked, and you made the comment, Tony, about, yes, it's going to be Doom and the Dark Ages. The irony is that Dark Ages DLC comes out the day after this news.
Oh, man.
So yes, it's crazy. And the one
it is
last
the Dark
thing,
Ages.
Oh, indeed it is. Indeed it is. And the one last thing I will mention is, man, I was just thinking, it'll come back to me. Yeah, I got thrown off for a second.
But I will use this opportunity, Rich, if you're still thinking. But Manny, OD is safe.
Yep, OD is safe after every single because they obviously know that these, they say that these firings and these things are all happening, but they always have to reiterate that OD is currently safe.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
And now I remember what I was going to say. All the stuff they're talking about with the layoffs and the PRs and all the stuff, that is true because some of the people that I know, they announced publicly as of yesterday they are no longer with Assembly.
Oh,
they announced that publicly.
See, that was part of the report. They said that was going to happen, and it already happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of bad things to hear about next week. I'm not looking forward to that, but it's supposed to happen starting on Monday.
Yeah. So, Echo, I think I can't read that right. Echo Crimson, OD is the Hideo Kojima game for Xbox.
Yes.
But yeah,
OD,
Monday
the knock.
Get ready for Monday, people. Again, if these reports are true, it's supposed to be, not only the worst day for Xbox, apparently one of the worst games in video game history. So, you're at the point where it's like, I'm already wet. I'll just go out in the fucking rain, and I can't get any wetter. And things are just horrible. But yeah, man, that's it for us. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There's a lot of you guys in the chat today. Shout out to you, brothers. I know you wanted to come in to see the show live. Couple things I will plug. Actually, I'll let Chris do this. Chris, you have something for the fans, right? You want to announce?
Yes, I have something to give away. Is something I never thought would happen is that right now Nintendo's the best value in gaming. So I have something for the fans. It's a copy of Star Fox for the Switch 2. So I will ask a couple of trivia questions on the Sunday show, and we'll see who snags that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna make an announcement about that on the Discord, so you guys have have time to gather. And yeah, we're gonna do like we always do. Whoever's here live, we'll ask a fun question, put you on the wheel of morality, spin that shit, and whoever it lands on wins a copy. And Chris, I'm assuming this is physical.
Oh yes. All day.
Oh, we give physical copies away on this podcast. You know, good stuff. Rich, what is coming up on the coalition this weekend?
Yeah, so I'm still working on quite a bit of things. I do have some thoughts that I will be sharing on this Doom: The Dark Ages DLC. By the way, they knocked it out the ballpark from what I've seen so far. So stay tuned for that. And of course, a whole bunch of other things I'm working on that I'll be able to talk about later. So stay tuned.
No, Wood Pity, he's not giving you a physical code. Oh man, that's funny. It's like, oh, it's a physical copy because it's a fucking plastic box.
No.
Thank you. No, Chris ain't doing that. Chris used to work for Rockstar, but he is not doing you dirty like that. You know.
No.
Manny, what you got?
Yes. So I have Dinner Date, which is coming out in October. Book by Joanne Starr, Kyle Randolph, and myself. Stay tuned for Comic-Con in the coming weeks, because there might be some more announcements about that book and some fun stuff happening. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Tales of the TMNT, Tales of the Ninja TMNT, which is based off of the now canceled animated series on Netflix. Kari and I did a little cover. It seems like the book is literally just going to continue and do new little fun stories for the kids. So that's coming out in September.
For the children.
For the kids.
For the kids. All right, man. So I start wrapping it up. So be sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube. Join the Discord gang. Shout out to the Discord gang. You guys were on fire this week. That was for sure. You know. And of course, you can find us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Burdock.
Deuces.
Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And Brian Manjoma.
So I guess that PlayStation did not learn from the PSP Go.
No, it didn't.
Not
No,
like
it
the
didn't.
damn thing.
Fuck. All right, guys, we shall return on Sunday. Get those questions in now. Actually, shout out to some of you motherfuckers already asking questions. Like every time something big happens, like obviously the PlayStation thing, questions already started coming in. You know, so keep asking us some more, especially those questions for Brett. You know, remember he's been gone for a while. Ask him his thoughts on all this crazy shit that's happened in the past 3 weeks. You know, all right, we will see you later.
Peace.
Latest.
Please ask us if we thought we'd live through 2 video game crashes in our lifetime.